Hey, it's your boy Jose from Big Meat Sports back at it again, and we have my co-host JC with us. Oh
What's
yeah.
going on, everybody?
All right. Hey, so week 17 NFL season is in the books. A lot of teams like the Dolphins, 10-6, didn't make the playoffs. Some teams
Only
had hope.
happens to the Dolphins.
Yeah, some teams had hope, like my Cowboys, and then we ruined it. And other teams had a slight shot, like the Giants, but it looks like Philly didn't want them to go. But we'll talk all about that in today's episode. But first, we'll talk about the Dolphins. And JC, let me know what happened.
Oh man, what didn't happen? Uh, that was we played our worst game in the most important week ever. Um, but that goes to show you how for real the Bills are. So a lot of respect to the Bills. I would have wanted them to sit their starters, but it's also a good thing too that they didn't sit their starters to see what we really had in that first quarter. We looked good. Our defense was ready, but eventually you knew Josh Allen was coming. Eventually, our defense was out there for way too long. Our offense couldn't get it going as usual. Uh, so unfortunately, we lost the game. We got blown out. It wasn't the way I wanted to go out. We still had some chances to get in with Cleveland losing, but obviously they played Pittsburgh's backup, so they took care of business. Although it was a close game, the Jaguars gave the Colts a scare there. I was rooting for the Jaguars for the first time in my life, but I wasn't even sure if I wanted the Dolphins to get in because if we would have gotten in, we would have played Buffalo first week, so it would have been the same scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure the Dolphins would have been hungry. But I think in this scenario, I was okay with us taking our 10-6 record and going into the offseason with that. I'm not disappointed in this team. If anything, I'm proud of this team. They overachieved big time. We're a year ahead of schedule. This whole year we were playing with, house money. No one thought we were going to do what we did.
Mm-hmm.
But, ultimately it comes down to, playing your best football in December. Your defense, your star players, that's when they get a chance to rise up. And unfortunately for the Dolphins, we don't have many of those. We have a solid defense that's, in my opinion, will be ready next year to compete. It's all about building around Tua now. I'm not ready to give up on Tua. I've been on Twitter, I've been on YouTube, on IG and all these fan pages, and I see the amount of fans that are giving up on this kid after just 1 year, after just nine games that he's played. They're ready to take Justin Fields or the best quarterback available at number 3, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd say that's ridiculous too, because I mean, just look how much of the playbook
Mhm.
Chan Gailey didn't open up the playbook like he did with Fitzpatrick in there. And I feel like,
Yeah.
Tua did what he had to do and he protected the ball, which, in the end gave you guys a chance to win. Years past,
Yeah.
all those interceptions, fumbles, and everything. I think that cost you guys the game. And with Ryan Fitzpatrick, always, with his turnover games,
Yeah.
he always had like 3 or 4. There's some games that he would turn over like 5 times. And I think Tua never had a game like that, except for yesterday, which it
Yeah,
looks like.
Fitz magic is nice, but along with the Fitz magic comes a little bit of Fitz tragic. We've
Yeah.
seen that before. I love Fitzy and I hope he stays. But people fall in love with him and they fall out of love just as fast when he has one of those games where he's just chalking it up, and that's why people
Yeah.
like him. He's a gunslinger. This
Yeah.
kid is a rookie. He's known, to take care of the ball. He's a game manager, could be a game manager. He can sling it as well, but he's not taking those chances year one. And I understand that. As much as I want him out there, I mean, you were with me when we were watching the Oakland game, and as soon as they pulled him out, I was like, bad decision, horrible
Yeah.
decision. Don't take the kid out.
Yep.
But when Fitzpatrick started leading us back to the, in the game, and he started, he chalked up that ball with the face mask. That's what Fitzpatrick does. He's a gamer, so of course I'm going to be happy.
Yeah. You're like the
But
best decision ever after
I know
that.
in the beginning I was like, oh, that's horrible. Don't do that. But Fitzpatrick went out there like Mariano Rivera, like he came in like the reliever in the ninth inning and saved it for us. So I appreciate him for that. But the
Yeah.
kid, you have to let the kid go through these moments. That's the only way he's gonna learn.
And I want to talk about draft right now. Draft needs. What do you feel that the Dolphins need to go, first and with the third pick in the draft?
The best player available. And if that's the tackle from Oregon, I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I'm going to embarrass myself. If
Yes.
that's him,
Sewell or something like that. I think it's
yeah,
Sewell.
Panini Sewell. Let's call him that. No. If he's the best available there, then you take him and you build that, you build that line. We had 3 rookies starting on the offensive line this year. You add them in there, we're going to be a lot stronger. It all depends on what the Jets are going to do. The Jaguars are taking Trevor Lawrence, which I think Justin Fields should be right up there with Trevor Lawrence, the way he showed up
Yep.
that game last weekend. So I'm thinking if the tackle's there, you take him. And if the Jets take him, there's a lot of fans out there saying you need to take Justin Fields. You need to give another quarterback for Tua to compete with. No, I'm not agreeing with that.
I think if the Jets take him, I think Devontae Smith, the wide receiver out of Alabama, him or Waddle, I think you have to go. I think you have to go wide receiver because, to me, you need more playmakers on the offensive side. And I didn't really see it with running backs, and in this college season, I saw more of playmakers of like the wide receivers. And look at the wide receiver class that we just had. I mean, you had
Najee Harris from Alabama looks outstanding too.
Yeah,
but I think he'll be available for us late in the first round.
Yeah, and that's why I think you can wait on him. But I think that kid Devontae Smith he's another.
No, and look, listen. If the Dolphins take Smith, I'm gonna support it, and of course I'm gonna be hyped up because this kid looks incredible.
Yeah.
In my opinion, though, there's no sense of having those weapons on the outside if you can't protect Tua. If Tua has that extra second or 3 seconds, he's gonna have a world of time to give Devontae Smith or Devontae Parker if we keep him.
Yeah.
Or let's say if we bring back Albert Wilson, I think Lynn Bowden Jr., he's going to be our future slot receiver. You got to give him more time. I'm excited about him coming back. You got to give those guys time to make plays and get separated from the corners. So, yeah, we can take Devontae Smith, but our line still needs work. And, we can still go in the second round and take somebody nice. But they're saying this guy from Oregon, and he doesn't look like it when you see him, but I guess the guy is super athletic. They're saying he's the best tackle to come out of the draft in a decade. So if he's a generational type of tackle,
Tyron Smith, all right, Tyron Smith, the best tackle, all right.
Who's that? Oh, from the Cowboys.
For Cowboys, yeah.
But when was he drafted though?
I forgot what.
Well, they're saying this kid is the real deal. He's a generational type tackle. He's the one that you start your foundation with. And I wouldn't be upset if they took either one.
Yeah.
If they took, the kid from Oregon, I'll be happy. That means Tua is going to have protection. But yes, there's a dire need for skill position players. I would put that at the top of my list. Our receivers. I mean, you saw it. Tua's out there throwing the practice squad players. And yesterday I was heated because there was at least 5 drops, catchable balls, very clearly catchable balls. That
one was a tip interception too, right?
Yeah, that was on Tua. That one was on Tua. I'm not going to blame that on Lynn Bowden. He threw it behind the receiver, and Lynn Bowden made the mistake of putting his hand up. If you have no chance to make that play, he tipped it and it fell right into the defender's hand. So that was on Tua. I'm not saying he played his best football, but you saw the potential that he has. He was throwing the ball. He was being a little bit more aggressive in the second half. He threw for over 300 yards. He did have 3 interceptions. I mean, the kid had TD to interception ratio of 10-2, and all of a sudden he's 10-5 after that game.
He threw 58 times. I mean, completing 35 of them. So, but I just feel like none of them were the playmaking. I feel like once they're down by big, I think he was trying to throw it down the field a little more, especially in the second half where he was going to Parker and just throwing it up to him and see what he could do. But hey. Like I said, I was calling it at the beginning of the year, and my prediction was off, and maybe I jinxed them. But I said that Dolphins were going to be a playoff team. But it sucks that 10-6 they fell short. But there's a lot of learning to do, and I feel like going into the next season with Tua as a quarterback, and you're going to see everybody because they're a young team. It's going to show them that every game is important. And to not take off like one game. And then like that Denver Bronco game, I feel like you guys should have won. And I feel like that you guys played down to, the competition. And you didn't get it done. So it's gonna
Yeah, we
it's
gotta
gonna trickle.
yeah, we gotta win those type of games. And like I said, Tua's gonna learn from that. That game is kind of a bad example because they pulled him.
Hmm.
Um, Another decision I disagreed with, but if we would have won the game, I would have been like, Brian Flores is a genius,
Yeah.
which I trust him. I can complain and complain about it as much as I want, but I trust the coach. We're heading in the right direction. But one thing I wanted to discuss with Tua was like, don't overreact. We got to give this kid time. He's only started 9 games in his career, and he's had flashes.
Yeah.
You saw it against, I think Arizona was probably my favorite, one of them all. And that's the one I keep referring to and going back to because I feel like they changed it up on Tua. Like if
Hmm.
you really want to see what Tua can do, watch that game. I've seen the highlights from that game at least 5 times, and he did everything right. He escaped the pocket. He didn't make any mistakes. He ran. He threw it on point, pinpoint passes, threading that needle into his receivers, and he won us the game. On a very good Arizona team. I know they missed the playoffs or whatnot, but they were very good earlier in the
Yeah.
season, and it was one of our best wins. It was one of the games of the year,
Hmm.
for us especially, or at the time. Um, and I feel like they went away from that.
Hmm.
And I hate when coaches do that when they don't stick to what works. They try something different. And I get it. And coaches, you can't be doing the same thing every game because defenses are going to figure you out. But if you really want to see what Tua can do, watch that tape or watch what he did at Alabama. You're going to have to open it up for him and change up the playbook to what suits him because he's our quarterback of the future. It's all about Tua now. Next season, if Fitzpatrick comes back, there is no reliever. There is none of that. You got to let the kid grow. You got to leave him in there.
Right.
But what were you going to say?
No, no, go ahead.
No, so I was looking it up yesterday, and I don't remember Josh Allen being this good, right? This is the year he's really taken off. And the guy's playing like an MVP. All right, all power to him, to Buffalo. They've done an amazing job. Josh Allen's first year, he started, I believe it was 13, 14 games,
Hmm.
his first season. He threw 10 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. He didn't look like the guy.
Yeah.
Right? People were already talking about trading him away, taking another quarterback the following year, 2018. I remember this, and I went to their last game, and I remember seeing the kid in person. And I was like, he can run, but he can't really throw. He's not accurate. He has an arm, but there's no sense in having an arm if you don't have any accuracy. And that was the last game of the season that year, and I was just like, oh, if this guy's in the division, we're gonna own Buffalo. Look at him now, 2 years later. So you gotta have patience. Tua started 9 games. He has just as many touchdowns as Josh Allen had his first year, with less than half of the interceptions that the kid threw. So you like the fact that the kid's not making any mistakes and he can manage a game. You just got to let him grow. He's going to have to go through his growing pains. And now he's going to have a full off season with the Dolphins. He's going to be the unquestioned starter. Yes, you bring in another quarterback, especially if Fitz retires or goes somewhere else, to have some competition, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. And let the kid earn it, which I think he's shown that this is his team and he can take them as far as they want to go. But have some patience. Don't stick with him for 7 years if he's not the one, like you did with Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
We hung on to that kid way too long.
Hmm.
He never showed anything special, except outside of his athleticism. But yeah, you got to give the kid patience. If he struggles next year, then you go into year 3. You got to give him. I've always been the fan of giving them at least 3 years. Same thing with a coach.
Yeah.
You can't just be one and done with a coach. You've seen it. You've seen it with Bill Belichick in the past when his Cleveland Browns were horrible and they thought he was a horrible coach. He came into New England and look at him now.
Yeah.
History, says itself. But with the Dolphins and Tua, I think we have a bright future. You got to give the kid time, and you got to give him weapons. I mean, it's easy for Mahomes. Mahomes inherited an amazing team.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert inherited an amazing offense, with all those guys. So it's not really fair, for Tua. He had nobody.
Yeah. And look, my final thought on the Dolphins, because we got a lot to go over. You took the words out of my mouth. The future is bright for the Miami Dolphins because all the young kids and what they went through this year, and and a 10-6 record is actually a really good record. and with the injuries and COVID and this whole, virtual, season, I think the Dolphins exceeded expectations, and you just got to be happy for that, and you just can't wait for next season and how Tua can take that next step with the on-field coaching. Hopefully we can do on-field coaching, and he has an off season to be one-on-one with his coaches and work on his craft. And I feel the future is bright.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people you guys are have on at the end of the contract, or if you have to re-sign them, but hopefully
All the important pieces are locked up. So that's a good and we still got a lot of money. We have a lot of cap space, and we have 4 picks in the top 50.
There you
We
go.
have 2 first rounds, 2 second rounds. Now, another thing that I forgot to mention was we have the 3rd pick. If the guy that we absolutely want isn't there, or you don't feel as strongly,
trade back.
Trade back.
Trade back,
but stay in the top 10. Stay in the top 10. A team like, whether it's I don't know who needs a quarterback right now. Atlanta's number 4, I believe.
Yeah.
If you want to switch with them, swap picks, but they give you an extra second round pick, go right ahead. Go right ahead. Now you got 5 picks in the top 50 or top 45. Who knows? But they have so many options, and and so I'm not sad. I mean, obviously, I'm disappointed we didn't get in because it's very rarely we ever get to see the Dolphins in the playoffs. I mean, our last playoff win was 2002. I was a kid at that point. I really didn't know about football as much as I do now. In my adult life, I've only seen the Dolphins in the playoffs twice, 2008 and 2016, when it really mattered.
Yeah.
So I want to see them compete again, but I'm being patient with this front office and this team. So I've never been this positive and this excited about the current team.
Yeah. And we'll see if you guys have a new offensive coordinator, because Chan Gailey was fired, and then they retracted the story. So we'll see.
I saw only the Dolphins, man. I remember you broke it to me, and I was like, oh, good riddance. I mean, the old man, he did okay. But you can tell he was more comfortable out there. He's coached Fitzpatrick with the Jets and the Bills. He opened it up for the guy. You can tell that was the guy he wanted to run his offense. Brian Flores was leaning towards Tua. So I'm hoping we get someone who's innovative and someone who's aggressive. I've been wanting an aggressive offensive coordinator since Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator of the Bills, he was the Dolphins offensive coordinator in 2012. He only did 1 year with us and then got fired.
Yeah.
With Tony Sparano. But he was aggressive, and he's been the same way he's with the Bills. He's up by 40. He's still chucking the ball downfield. That's what I want to do. That's what I want. An offensive coordinator that's going to be aggressive and let the kid play.
Yeah, hopefully you do. We'll see. Again, we just got to see all the offseason moves, and like I tell the Dolphins fans, the future is bright, and give them time. I think next year will be more of an 11-5 season. You always want to get.
I don't need you to jinx us again. All right, keep your predictions to yourself.
All right, but let's go on. I'm not going to talk about the Cowboys because it's been a frustrating year and stuff like that with the Cowboys. We ended our season losing to the Giants.
At least you have something to play for, though.
Hey, it is what it is. It sucks because the NFC East does suck, and that's why we had something to play for. But I can't wait for Dak to be back next year, and just for like the whole team, see the off-season moves. And I feel like in a draft, we're gonna attack the defensive side, and we're gonna get linebacker. There's a guy named Parsons that's a linebacker. The Christian Baymore, the Alabama defensive tackle, and there's other Patrick Surtain. I'm looking at him and as adding another corner. So we'll see what the Cowboys do in the offseason. But hey, congrats to the Washington football team. They deserve it. They got in there, even though Philly looks like they gave it to them with not putting Jalen Hurts at the end. But it is what it is. But my question to you is these upcoming playoff games, what game are you excited to see?
Tennessee and Baltimore.
That's a good one.
I want to see that game. Derrick Henry, you already know the guy's a baller. He's a freaking monster. Mm-hmm. My opinion, best running back in the game. It's going to be fun to see him go up against that Baltimore line. And I want to see the Tennessee defense is trash. They're not that good. So I want to see what Lamar Jackson is going to do on that end. But I feel like it's crazy to say it, but Baltimore is a sleeper. Like they're an interesting sleeper team. They barely got into the playoffs. They managed to get in. I think they're going to be the team. Obviously, Kansas City is a team to beat. Not looking forward to seeing Buffalo and the Colts. Buffalo is going to rout them. The Colts aren't that good. But yeah, I think Baltimore. I'm picking Baltimore to take it to Tennessee.
Okay,
it'd be nice to see Tannehill. I think Tannehill, he's been doing phenomenal. That's great for him. He was a late bloomer. All power to him. But I feel like he's one of those guys that he needs a guy like Derrick Henry and receivers like AJ Brown and Corey Davis in order to succeed. He's not one of those guys that makes something out of nothing. He's definitely not that. He's had his bad games in Tennessee, but obviously he's been playing well. But I think Baltimore, that's going to be the most interesting match to me, at least in the first round.
Yeah, and
over in the AFC.
I had that in the AFC also, but the other game I'm interested to see is how Cleveland plays Pittsburgh. Because again, we said Pittsburgh has been exposed, here and there on defense and offense, more on the offensive side, and the struggles to run the game, run the ball. So we'll see, if Cleveland can take that next hump with Baker Mayfield and take them to a playoff win. I forgot what was the last time they made the playoffs, but it's been a while.
2002.
So
same year the last Dolphins playoff win.
Yeah, and then the other game on the AFC side is the Seattle Seahawks versus the
NFC.
Rams. Yeah, NFC, sorry. Seattle Seahawks versus the Rams, and I want to see if Goff plays. Now, if Goff plays, I think the Rams do have a shot because Seattle doesn't really have a running game. It's mostly passing.
They don't have a defense either,
and they don't have a defense. So we'll see how that works out, because you're going to put the whole game on Russell Wilson's arm and see if he can take you to to a win. And
I think if there's anyone that can do that, though, it's Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
or Patrick Mahomes.
But that defense for the Rams is really, really good. So we'll see if they can get it done. But it all depends if Goff can play this coming.
How'd that kid do?
Sunday. I didn't really watch the game, but I think they're putting all their money on hoping that Goff plays.
I think he will.
We'll see.
I think he will.
We'll see. But who do you think?
Who's playing Washington?
Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is going to win that. Yeah, and Tom Brady.
I'm actually rooting for Tampa, to be honest with you. I want to see what Tommy Brady can do, and he had a pretty good year, given his age and whatnot. But if the Dolphins aren't in, I think I'm gonna stick with the Florida boys on this one and see what Tampa could do. I think Mike Evans. That's right. Just remembered he got hurt.
But they say
they got Antonio Brown. He looked pretty well.
And they say Mike Evans day to day. So we shall see if he plays.
They can sit him for this game.
Yeah, they could probably.
I'm not sleeping on Washington's defense, but it's fucking Washington.
Hey, but I told all those Patriot fans, hey, you're not gonna make the playoffs. Enjoy Tom Brady while you can, because you're probably gonna be like the Cleveland Browns for the next decade until you find your quarterback. And I
hope so. They deserve it.
And I don't see you finding a quarterback anytime soon. You guys tried Cam Newton. Everybody got on the hype train of Cam Newton. That boy couldn't even throw a 15-yard out pass or down the field. So
you know what sucks about being a Dolphins fan is that we've put up with Brady for so long and that dynasty, and then winning that division for so long and just dominating, even though we played them the best in that division.
Yeah.
But now we got to put up with Josh Allen. As soon as we get rid of Tom Brady, in comes Josh Allen, and he's lighting up the world. So yeah, I'm hoping it's a one-season thing for Josh Allen.
Yeah, but we shall see on that. But I want to say that who do you feel that could give Kansas City the fits? Do you think it's Buffalo? Now,
honestly, as much as I hate them, I think they're for real.
You think they're for real? You think they can? Would it be a close game, or you think it'll be? It'll be
Kansas
a blowout?
City beat them, and look, and you can always have a one-off. Like Tennessee beat the crap out of Buffalo this year too.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't remember the score of the Buffalo Kansas City game, but Buffalo is a different team. Buffalo has gotten better. These guys, they're playing their best football. I mean, you
Hmm.
saw it yesterday. They played for one half and they destroyed us. And we're the number one defense in the NFL, and we're playing for our lives. And these guys were just balling. They got it. They got it everywhere. They got the running game. They got the receivers, and their defense is top five right now too. So
Yeah.
I think if anyone's gonna give Kansas City any issues, it'll be Buffalo. I think Kansas City is a great team, and I think ultimately they're gonna win it again. But they have their issues too. I mean, they almost lost to Atlanta last week when in a must-win game. You know,
Hmm.
the Dolphins almost beat them. You know, the Raiders beat them. You know, that's a divisional foe, but I mean, it's any given Sunday, and I hate, it's a cliche or whatnot, but absolutely, Buffalo, they're the clear top two teams, Kansas City and Buffalo. I mean, you never know what happens, but we will see.
So, JC, right now, who is your Super Bowl teams right now? Who do you feel, or who do you want to see in the Super Bowl?
Man, it's in Tampa
Hmm.
this year. I would love to see Kansas City and Tampa. I just don't think Tampa's gonna, they may make it to the second round and ultimately lose. I would love to see Patrick Mahomes go at it with Russell Wilson. I would love to see Kansas City and Seattle. I
Yeah,
love Russell Wilson.
yeah, I
Both
love
of them are
Russell
two of my
Wilson.
favorite players.
Yeah,
So
I,
and none
I,
of them are defensive teams, so it'll be a shootout, and
no,
that's what I
I
want to
would,
see.
I would love to see that, but I would my pick, and I would love to see is Kansas City versus Green Bay. Two
Oh
gunslingers,
yeah, yeah,
two
that's another good
gunslingers,
one. Yeah,
two
yeah.
gunslingers, and Aaron Rodgers right now, he's been playing out of his mind, and I just feel
You
like
got me on that one. I
I
don't know why Green Bay slipped my mind, but man,
and
that's
and they
that'll
have
be.
and they
I
have
take
home
that
field
back. Green Bay and Kansas
advantage.
City. That'll be the
Yeah,
best game.
they have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Green Bay does, and so you're going to see them. You're going to see snow, so you know that they know how to play in snow. As you saw, I think it was 2 games ago where it was just coming down, and they still put up like a 40 or 50 burger at, while passing the ball. So they all know how to
Crazy.
run their routes
And I
in the
don't. No one
snow.
on Kansas City can guard
Yeah.
Devontae Allen,
So
Adams.
yeah, that would be a most interesting Super Bowl. I'm seeing
And
like
their defenses are kind of like the same, right? Because Green Bay's had a pretty. I mean, I think Green Bay's defense is better.
yeah, I think both of their defense are solid, but they do have their uh, places where they can
And
be
they got
better.
Aaron Jones. They
Yeah,
got. I mean, and then you got Kansas City that got they got Le'Veon. They got Hilaire.
yeah, and I
But
think the only thing that Kansas City, they don't run the ball as much, and they're not as effective as a run. So sometimes if they don't feel like the run is working, they'll go straight past almost like the whole
yeah,
game.
I love it
Uh,
though. I love their
yeah,
offense.
no, then, but to me, that'll be if I want to see a Super Bowl, other than Cowboys versus Dolphins in the Super Bowl, two
Maybe
gunslingers.
one day, man.
Yeah, hopefully next year
We'll have to
we'll
spend our
see.
life savings to go to that game.
Hey,
We'll have to leave our wives at home though, because those tickets are expensive.
yeah, what's like ten
I have to
thousand
sell
dollars
my
for.
car.
But man, hey, to me, I mean, that's all I have for today's show, and we talked about everything. Again, for the Dolphins, it does suck. I want to see you guys, do good, but again, it's a learning process, and again, the future is bright for Tua.
Yeah,
So
no,
we'll
in
see.
closing, Dolphin fans, if you're a Dolphin fan, and I've been suffering for as long as I can remember, but I am a diehard Dolphin fan. I bleed aqua and orange. This is my team. I've seen many regimes come in and out. I've seen many head coaches come in and out, but I can tell you, never been this excited in my life as a Dolphins fan as I am right now. If you're a Dolphins fan and you're watching this, please don't overreact. Trust the process with Chris Greer. Trust it with Brian Flores as our head coach, who's going to be a tremendous coach. Should be coach of the year, in my
Mhm.
opinion. We're making strides. You think about the draft capital we have, the salary we're going to have. In order, we'll be able to fill the holes that we just saw, and the coaches and GMs going to be able to go back and watch tape and really identify these issues. Um, if you don't have your trust in them, I don't know what you're doing. I know I do. I've made the mistake before in trusting a guy like Sperano, Adam Gase and all those other guys. But I really feel different about this regime. We're headed in the right direction. If you look at the past, yeah, we made the playoffs one year, but then we sucked the rest of the way. If you look at those past teams, you know that we had all of our money tied up in aging veterans. We had no money. We had no draft capital. We have both now. So this is a lot different. The future is bright. This is going to be a fun off season. It's going to be a fun draft. We're going to watch it together like we have been for the last couple of years.
Yep.
And maybe post some videos on the show, but it's going to be real exciting, for the Cowboys as well. It's going to be a fun off season, and I can't wait to reload and come back.
And for the Cowboys, look, Dak Prescott will be back. Tyron Smith will be back. La'el Collins will be back. Almost our whole offensive line.
Yep.
Zach Martin will be back. Almost our whole offensive line. So our offense is going to come back. We just got to wait and see what we do on in the draft. And, with picking up players, veterans here and there on the defensive side, and see if we can address those issues that we needed to address on the defense, because I do feel that we could contend for a Super Bowl, and I'm not just saying, I'm not just saying that, and I always say that every year, but with this offense, how can you not, with three number one receivers that we do have, Ezekiel Elliott, a top 5 running back. Our backup is Tony Pollard with a change of pace back.
You don't know what you're going to do in the draft. We don't know. So you're going to have another, you're going to have a year 2 CD Lamb. I don't know if Amari Cooper comes back. But you got
Amari Cooper is gonna. I feel that Amari Cooper will be back. I think the whole big thing will be Michael Gallup, and how much money he's asking for. So we'll see. But it's all on the defense. Jerry Jones, the Jones, family. Please don't disappoint me this year. We need to go defense. We need a safety. We need defense ends. Let's go strictly defense, and that's it.
I agree, man. But the most important position on your team, it's already solidified with a guy like Dak Prescott. I mean, 2-3 weeks after he was hurt, he still led the league in passing. That already shows you what he was doing. So all you need is that defense. You got all these amazing receivers, and obviously Zeke wasn't himself this year. A lot has to do with with the fact that you're struggling so much on the QB side. But yeah, I think you have a lot to be excited for as well. You guys are ready to compete right now. I think the Dolphins are getting there. So we will see. 2 years ago, no one thought Buffalo was going to be a competitor, and look at them now. It all depends on your progression, development of your players, and trusting the process. So we will see, guys. This NFL season, it felt like
a weird
too
one.
Short.
Yeah, and
it was a weird one.
And it was. You never knew who was going to play with the COVID list and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So hey, I'm glad. I'm glad this season's over. I can put it in the past, but I'm still excited to see the games this weekend and see who does what. So we'll be on next week, and you will have our reaction to the games. This upcoming week on the playoffs. But hey, we're done for this episode. It's your boy Jose. It's JC. It's from Big Meat Sports. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to the page. And we are gonna have a bet. And don't think that Vlad and Duncan got out his bet, but we're gonna have that hot chip.
They're
challenge.
not off the hook.
Yeah, they're gonna have that hot chip challenge bet for them. So we're gonna see which game we're gonna have them bet on, and we'll go from there. But again, this is Jose from Big Meat Sports and JC from Big Meat Sports, and have a good one, guys.
Thank you, guys.